my name is Miss Rashida. Yes, today I'm introducing a topic for grade 8, which is trade. First and foremost, we're going to see what is trade. So, under trade, we have transport. Because without transport, trade cannot happen. So, what is trade? Trade is the buying and selling. When you buy and sell, you are trading. So, you're going to see where trade takes place. Trade takes place in different places. Yes. Trade can happen between individuals. We can also have regional trade, a trade that happens between different regions of the country. And then we also have international trade, that is trade between countries. And with this kind of trade, it involves the movement of goods over a very long distance. So with international trade, transport plays a very big part. Yes. And then we also have trade that can happen between individuals. Like I said, that is normal buying and selling that most people use today. Yes. So those are the kinds of transport. We have the trade between individuals, regional trade, and then international trade. And then under that, we are going to see, remember, long time ago, trade used to be barter trading, which was the buying and selling of goods for goods and services for services. Okay, so we have people trade in different things. People don't only trade in goods, people can also trade in services. Yes, services. For example, these are things that people do for other people to get paid. Yes, like a service. If you're a teacher, you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are doing a service for someone else. So definitely, if you're doing a service for someone else, you have to be paid. All right. So now we have the links between trade and transport. Like I told you, with international trade, is the trade between countries, trade that is happening across borders. This kind of trade needs transport. Without transportation, this kind of trade cannot happen. So that those are the links between trade and transport. Yes, we use different kinds of transport to move goods or people between what places. And without transport, most kind of trade will be almost impossible. Yes. So the improved transport methods in systems such as we have things like refrigerated ships. These are improved transport methods. And then we also have things like oil pipelines. It's the kind of transport that is used to transport oil across borders. Then we have also the container ships. Yeah, these are examples of improved kinds of transport. Then we have, sorry, yes. So, like I was saying, we have the improved kinds of transport, or you can call them the different kinds of transport that used to move goods and people across borders or in the regions of the country. We have things like refrigerated ships, we have oil pipelines and container transport. These have increased the volume of world trade. Yeah. So remember in the past, farmers needed to be just close to the cities for long. Yeah, but today, things like refrigerated transport keeps food fresh. Yeah. Farmers can send food all over the world without it getting spoiled. Then we have another kind of transport that has really improved the volume of world trade is the refrigerated trucks. Yeah, with these kind of refrigerated trucks, they help to transport refrigerated what goods. Yes. So these types of trucks, they help to keep the food fresh without going bad. So meaning food can be transported over a very long distance without the food getting spoiled. Then we have another kind of transport, which is a passenger train. Remember, with trade, we say that we don't only trade in goods, but we also trade in services. Yeah. For example, people work far away from their homes, so definitely they will need transport. So this kind of passenger train helps people to trade their labor for money, which they use to buy things that they need. Remember, we trade to get what we need. Yes. So definitely you can't trade to get what you have. You trade to get what you don't have. So people trade their labor for money. If I'm a teacher teaching in a school, I'm trading my labor for money. And also, people all over the world, they use buses, trains, taxis, and cars to get to work. Yeah, so this kind of transport, the passenger train, has enabled workers to travel for work. Then we have another kind of transport that was invented, which is the large container ships. Yes, these large container ships, they help us. These large container ships, they help us to transport goods between countries. Yes, and the cost of transportation for these goods between borders of different countries has really reduced due to container ships. Yes, so transport improvements such as the high-speed trains, we call them the high-speed we call them the high-speed trains, also help move goods and people more quickly between places. Yeah, so now under that, we have a question that poses that says, why do people in urban areas, remember our urban areas, these are your cities and towns, why do they need to use transport more than people in rural areas? Yes, remember, in urban areas, people move from one place to another. Definitely, people trade in work. Like, for example, you'll find that people live like we have commercial areas and then we also have residential areas. People do not live where they work. People live in commercial areas. Sorry, people live in residential areas and then they go to commercial areas for work. So definitely people in urban areas will need more transport compared to people in rural areas. Rural, those are your um, villages and farms. Yes, remember most people in rural areas, they deal with farming. So most of the job opportunities, you'll find them in urban areas. All right. So we have different kinds of transport, make it easier for people to trade. Like, for example, if you're trading with refrigerated goods, definitely you will need trucks that are refrigerated. All right. So if you have kind of goods that need to be delivered to where they are supposed to be sold in maybe a few days, they are fragile, then you need to use a kind of transport that is really fast for those goods to reach market easy, market quicker before they get spoiled. So the kind of transport will depend on the kinds of goods that you're trading in. All right. So now here we've got also um, the different modes of transport and their uses. Yes. A mode of transport, these are the things that people use to transport goods from one place to another. For example, when you talk about the sea, when you talk about the sea, when you talk about the sea, when you talk about air transport, when you talk about road transport, you talk about rail and pipeline. And pipeline, these are modes of transport, or you can call them the kinds of transport that people choose to move their goods from one place to another. And the kind of transport that people choose depends on the following factors. For you to choose whether you'll use air transport, you'll use sea transport, road transport, rail transport, or pipeline transport, it will depend on the following factors. One, the distance. How far? The distance of the journey. How far are you taking the goods? How far is the distance from where the goods are coming from to the market? Okay. Another factor will depend on the cost of transport. Yes, because also you cannot have goods that are low of value, and then you use a kind of transport that is going to be costly. Definitely, the type of transport you're going to use for your goods will also depend on the type of on the cost of the cost of transport also determines the kind of good that you're going to use. Yes. So, for example, the kind of transport that you need will depend on the cost of the transport. If the cost of the transport is high for your goods, then you will choose another kind of transport that is of low cost to your goods, so that you can be able also to make a profit. Because when you're trading, definitely you need to make a profit. You don't just trade for just trading, but you need to make a profit out of your goods. And also another kind of transport that people choose also depends on the types. It will also depend on the types. It will also depend on the types of goods to be transported. To be transported. Let's say if you have fragile goods that are fragile, maybe they need high care, then maybe you can use air transport. Or if you have goods that need to stay in refrigerators, then you'll use refrigerated what? Transport. For example, if you have goods that need big containers, then you use container what? Ships. So it will also depend on the quality of goods to be transported for you to choose a kind of transport. Yeah. For example, if you're transporting oil across the world, remember oil is transported across the world, these oceans, in specially built oil trunks. So if you're transporting oil to different world, to different across the world, these oceans, you need to use special built oil trunks. Sorry, special built oil tankers. Right. So some oil tankers are 400 meters long. Yes. So, meaning the quality of goods also matter. It matters on the kind of transport to be used. When you're transporting oil, you'll need the special built oil tankers. All right. So we have different kinds of goods can be loaded in a container. Containers can be packed quickly inside container ships. Containers fit easily onto trains and trucks. Containers are strong and prevent goods inside from getting damaged. Like if your goods are fragile, you need container ships. Yes, this because these containers are strong and they prevent goods to prevent goods inside from getting damaged. So we also have containers, even for example, also the kind of transport that you need for your goods also depends on the security that you need across your goods. For example, if you need maximum security for your goods, definitely containers will be perfect means of what transport, because the containers can lock and it prevents safety for the goods. Now, most people use air transport for goods if there is emergency supplies to a disaster area. So if there is an area, for example, if there are wars, they can use air transport to go supply those emergency supplies to those countries that are experiencing what? Wars. So mostly people use air transport in such areas, yes, just for quick transportation. Then we have road transport. So under road transport, many different kinds of transports are used on roads. For example, we have cement trucks. These ones transport concrete to building sites. We have petrol tankers. These ones transport petrol from oil refineries to petrol stations. Then we have things like refrigerated trucks. These transport frozen or chilled foods. We have bikes. They carry a variety of goods and workers. We also have some taxis, carry goods between taxis. But taxis, some taxis, they carry goods, but taxis usually carry people. Remember, also people trade, they trade their labor for money. And also, you have motorbikes. These carry some goods such as medicines and important documentations. Yes. So, remember, I told you the modes of transport. We have sea. Remember, I told you we have sea transport. Yes. We have air transport. We have road transport. We have rail transport. And we also have pipeline transport. And I told you that the kind of transport that people choose depends on the following factors. One, the distance of the journey. Secondly, cost of transport. Thirdly, types of goods to be transported. Fourthly, the quality of goods. And I've explained all the modes of transport. Now, we have an activity for you here. The first question is, name one type of specialized transport used on sea and one used on land. Yes. And then the other one is, name the goods that each of these modes of transport is specialized to transport. And then explain why the following modes of transport are unlikely to be used to transport the goods. For example, a train to transport flowers, an airplane to transport 300 tons of coal, a refrigerator truck to transport live chickens. Yes, you tell us why the following modes of transport are unlikely to be used to transport those goods. Right. So we have major roads, railways, airports, harbors in South Africa. All right. So there are three factors that influence transportation. The first factors influencing transportation under railways, road transport, air transport, and harbors in South Africa. Right. The first one is accessibility. How accessible are these types of transport? Affordability and availability. All right. So these networks of the country both affect its economic development. Trade and industry can be also determined. Trade and industry can determine what transport networks are. All right. We have some of South Africa's transport networks. Factors that influence South Africa's transport networks. One is population distribution. Right. For example, transport networks are denser where there is high population density. In South Africa, most manufacturing companies is based in Gauteng, while mining areas are in the northern part of the country. South Africa has a fewer major urban settlements that make up most of the urban population and economic production. Yes. So we are going to go to the advantages and disadvantages of using road and railway transport. So, yes, we're going to see advantages means why is it good? What are the benefits of using road transport? Advantages. With road transport transporting goods, yeah. Roads link places directly. So road tracks can go straight to users. Like if you're using road transport, your things can be directly delivered to you because there is links. They link places directly. Also using road transport, there are more roads than railways. And also road transport is cheaper. Remember, we are comparing road to rail. So roads link places directly. So road tracks can go straight to users. There are more roads than railways. Road transport is cheaper and quicker over short distances. Delivery by road is more immediate. Trains have to follow the timetable. For example, if I'm using road transport, I can just go by the road, take a taxi, wherever I'm going. But with the trains have to follow a timetable. If I miss a 2:30 train, I'll have to wait for another train that comes at 4:30. So whereby with these things, they don't apply to road transport. I can get a taxi anytime I need it. Yes. So now we have the disadvantages of using road transport over rail transport. Yes, with roads, there is a lot of traffic. congestion. It is caused by so many what? Vehicles, because you can see people have got personal vehicles, we have passenger vehicles, taxis, all those kind of things. So due to that, there is always traffic congestion. We have exhaust fumes, which cause pollution together. Mostly when it comes to cars that have got engines that are old. Yes. So that exhaust fumes, it causes air pollution in the cities. We also have, there are so many road accidents than rail accidents. It is rare to find a train being involved in an accident than we always see cars involved in accidents. And also, trucks can't carry as many goods as trains. Those are some of the disadvantages of road transport. Now we have advantages of rail transport compared to road transport. Yes, when you look at railways, they can transport many goods in one trip compared to road transport. And a train can carry large bulk. With a train, it can carry large bulky cargoes. Cargoes such as coal and iron ore. Remember when you talk about ore, coal and iron ore. And iron ore. Yeah, the word is ore. Yes. So a rock is, when you talk about ore, this is a rock that contains a mineral. For example, if a rock contains iron, we say it's an iron ore. If a rock contains diamonds, we say it's a diamond ore. If a rock contains gold, it's called gold ore, right? So now, yeah, when you talk about rail transport, the advantages of rail over road transport, there's no congestion with trains, unlike with cars or vehicles. There's no congestion. One train passes at a time compared to cars. With cars everywhere, there will be cars. But with the trains, since they have a timetable, there is no congestion with trains. And another advantage of rail transport over road transport is most trains run on electricity, which causes less pollution. With electricity, we do not, yes, there is pollution, but it is less compared to the one that happens with road transport. Then moving to the disadvantage of rail transport over road transport. Yes, with trains, they cannot travel up steep slopes. Yes, meaning with a train, it can't go up steep slopes, right? Another one, they cannot go to many different places on one journey. It may take time to load all tracks on a train. Yes, meaning when you're loading all the tracks, it may take time. Trains do not always go straight to and from users, so goods may need to be carried by another transport. If you take your goods on a train, they don't link. So they can't go from one user to another user. So meaning if you're using train transport so if you're using rail transport as a form of transport to transport your goods, you may need another kind of transport as well. Okay. So we have the private modes of transport. You can talk about the minibuses. Yeah. So with the minibuses, there is multi-billion rand minibus taxi industry carries over 60% of South Africa's commuters. Yes, I repeat, the multi-billion rand, the multi-billion rand minibus taxi industry carries over 60% of South Africa's commuters. Generally speaking, these commuters are all over the lower economic class. They're about, when you look at minibus taxi, they are owned by individuals. Most minibus taxi drivers work for a wage salary. Yes. When you talk about a wage salary, they work for a wage, meaning some of them are paid every week or daily, and others salary every month. Yes. But only 2% on minibus. I said only. When you talk about only, only 2% on minibus drivers are women. 2%, meaning the 98, they are men. So, minibus drivers are well known for this grade for the road users. Sorry, they are well known for this grade for the road rules and for the dangerously overloading their vehicles with passengers. So, we are going to see what people like about minibus transports. It's so people like what people like about minibus transports. These transports they go to places where other transport do not go. They stop anywhere to pick up people. They operate weekends and after hours. They are quicker than any other form of what? Road transport. Yes. Mini transport, you talk about like the Ubers, your Bolts, all those kind of things. And then we also have reasons as to why people don't like using mini bus taxis. Yeah. For the minibus taxi fares are more expensive than any other mode of road transport. Like, for example, when you talk about the Bolt, when you're Ubering somewhere, when you're bolting somewhere, I mean, is if you're bolting somewhere, maybe you're going to Joburg, from here to Joburg, maybe they can take with a normal kind of taxi, maybe it's 11 rand, 18. But when you Uber, it goes to maybe 75 rand. So they are quite expensive compared to other modes of road transport. So some minibus taxis are old and not safe. Some drivers are careless and cause accidents. Passengers have to wait for a minibus taxi to fill up before they leave. Yeah, and they are often overcrowded. And the transport on road is bicycle. So with bicycles, no mode of transport that is more efficient and practical than a bicycle for most trip purposes. Bicycle use zero fossil fuels to be propelled. The human energy used to propel bicycles is renewable and largely non-populating. All right, so um, reasons why bicycles are the best modes of transport. Bicycles can ride by people of nearly all ages. Bicycles provide humans with lower impact exercise, health and fitness benefits without adversely impacting the earth. Bicycles ride quickly, which limits noise pollution and disturbances to nature. Bicycles also encourage human interaction, communication, and connectivity. Yes, we have some questions to pose there. What are minibus drivers known for? Who are mainly owners of minibus taxis? What do you think? Is it male-dominated industry? How are bicycles good for the planet? Give for reasons why bicycles are the best transport. Right. I just want to summarize the topic. People try to get things they don't need. People try to get the things they need. Sorry. People try to get the things that they need. Different kinds of transports move around a country and the world. The different modes of transport are sea, air, road, rail, and pipelines. South Africa has a good system of road, rail, sea, and air links that connect the main trading centers to each other. Durban in South Africa is South Africa's busiest port. Durban is well situated to import and export goods to and from Gauteng, which is the economic center of the country. Durban's main imports and export products are mostly motor vehicles, containers, oil, sugar, and steel. Special areas called terminals deal with certain kinds of cargo, for example, oil, containers, and sugar. Then we have specialized ships are designed to carry certain cargo more efficiently. Examples of specialized ships are oil tankers, oil and container ships. With rail transport, it's good for moving large, heavy goods over long distances. Road transport is more efficient for moving smaller loads to many different places over shorter distances. Public transport is transport that the general public uses but does not own. Public transport is usually run and owned by the government, e.g. rapid transit systems. bus services, and underground rail transport in cities. Private transport owned by individuals include your cars, your bicycles, your taxis. Transport is a bigger daily cost for many people in South Africa. People may waste a lot of time each day using transport to get to work or school. Large number of vehicles using the road cause congestion, pollution, and increase the risk of traffic accidents. Some local solutions to urban transport issues include rapid transit systems such as the Gauteng, Rea Vaya, and the Baras Rapid Transit in Cape Town. Yeah. Public transport strategies that have been tried around the world include South Africa, are including South Africa, bus, cycle lanes, park and ride systems, car-free zones in urban areas, and subsidized public transport. Yes. Our last activity is why do people trade? You talk about reasons why people trade, list the different modes of transport. This is an activity that summarizes the entire topic about transport for term 4. You list South Africa's busiest ports, explain the purpose of road and rail transport, and what are the disadvantages between public and private transport. What happens when there are large number of vehicles on the road? List some of the solutions to urban transport issues and what are some of the public transport strategies that have been tested. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Bye.